Minecraft Peaceful Mode. It's the mostly unused easy mode, not easy, trouble-free mode of Minecraft. Disabling anything remotely hostile in the game and making it much more relaxing without fear of dying, Peaceful Mode does exactly what you think it does. Or does it? Is Minecraft Peaceful Mode actually harder than all three of the game's other difficulties? Can you still die in Peaceful Mode? And hold up, if this is peaceful, what are all these guys still doing? Wait, can you even get to the end in the first place? You'd be surprised how little you know about the quirks and features of Minecraft Peaceful. Today we talk about Minecraft's deceptively peaceful difficulty that isn't as such, and how it can actually make the game far more challenging than possible in any other difficulty, including hardcore. But before we do, hit that subscribe button for me. But peacefully, would you? Be gentle. It's delicate. And help me reach 500k subs by the end of the year. No pressure. Alright, so let's get the basic changes Peaceful Mode makes out of the way. Peaceful Mode disables hostile mobs from spawning, besides a few unique cases we'll get to later. Some neutral mobs also do not spawn, and mobs that can damage the player normally can't. The hunger bar never depletes, meaning you don't need to eat food, and you have a constant passive health regeneration, which seems to be similar to the regeneration speed of Regeneration 3. But you can still die, so much for peaceful, huh? Falling from high enough will kill you still, and so will kinetic energy. God damn it, I still can't escape it in peaceful. Anvils can still kill you if dropped from high enough, and of course, the be-all end-all of Minecraft, the Void, will kill you. Splash potions of harming can still do damage and kill you. Poison 2 can still do damage to you, although it wouldn't kill you anyways. But Poison 1 will do no damage as you can out-heal it. Lightning will kill you obviously, although the chances of getting struck this many times in a row are already astronomical. And arrows can still do damage and therefore kill you. Other players, if you happen to allow them to play with you, can still do damage of course. So Peaceful Mode doesn't even sound that peaceful after all. So let's talk about what can't kill you instead. TNT does no damage to you, although you can technically die from it, as you can use it to launch yourself up in the air and die from full damage. Technically you could do the same with end crystals as well, although that's much harder to set up. Interestingly, entity cramming won't do any damage to you, but will to other mobs you cram. Neutral mobs also won't aggro at you when you attack them, meaning you can't be killed by aggressive bees, llamas, wolves, or polar bears. Naturally spawning iron golems also won't aggro at you. Drowning, lava, fire, suffocation, magma blocks, and damage from cacti will still kill you, although it will take substantially longer due to the passive health regeneration. But if you have sufficient armor enchanted with protection, for example, then you actually won't die from any of these methods due to the damage reduction being enough that the passive regeneration can out-heal it. The Ender Dragon also has a 1 in 1 trillion chance to be able to kill you in Peaceful Mode. Oh, does that statement confuse you? Well, let me explain. But before I do, let's talk about something not so peaceful. My Minecraft SMP on og-network.net is finally Bedrock compatible. That's right, that means all you Bedrock players out there who want to play on a true survival server with griefing, PvP, and a player-driven market can now join and play with Java players as well. IP's in the description, come check it out. Anyways, this video is about how Minecraft Peaceful Mode is harder than other difficulties after all, so it makes sense that the end is entirely inaccessible in Peaceful Mode. Since Endermen don't spawn, you can't get Ender Pearls from them. That's fine though, you can still trade for them with villagers and find them in some structure chests. But since Blazes don't spawn, it's impossible to get Blaze Powder and craft Eyes of Ender. Therefore, you can't go to the end in Minecraft Peaceful Mode. This means that by playing Peaceful, you lose access to a variety of end-related blocks, but most importantly, you will never be able to get shulker shells to create shulker boxes, and will never be able to get an elytra. Just the thought of being unable to dump my messy inventory into random shulker boxes is truly horrific. And I guess losing the elytra sucks as well. But hey, look at the bright side, at least you won't die to kinetic energy anymore. Technically speaking though, you could still get to the end in Peaceful if the end portal generated with 12 eyes already. The chance of this happening though is 1 in 1 trillion. But hey, a seed already has been found like this, so you could just use that seed instead. And because shulkers still spawn in Peaceful Mode, likely due to the fact that they can't naturally spawn anywhere like other mobs and don't count towards the mob cap, you would still be able to get shulker boxes. But even with the perfect seed, much of the game is still inaccessible. Let's talk about some of those features now. The obvious difference is going to be the lack of mob drops. String, bones, arrows, gunpowder and more are common but useful items normally, having various purposes that last late into the game. But now that there's no mob spawning, obtaining these items is going to become much more difficult. No longer will you toss out bones or arrows onto the ground so they can despawn, because the only way you're going to be able to obtain various mob drops is through loot chests in structures such as desert temples or rarely generating around the world such as cobwebs. The absence of bones, strings, spider eyes, ender pearls, and many more mob drops will not only turn certain items into a rarity, but will also make a multitude of potions unobtainable. Slime balls become exceedingly rare as well, as you only will be able to obtain them from baby pandas sneezing and from the occasional wandering trader. This will make lots of forms of redstone and redstone contraptions very difficult to create. Gunpowder has to be the most painful one, because you burn through firework rockets when flying with an elytra. Oh wait, you won't even have an elytra, never mind then. But now TNT is exceedingly hard to come by, meaning you won't be blowing up large areas of your world or blowing up the nether for ancient debris, unless you use a TNT duper, of course. Oh, and besides items you would get from mob drops, what about XP? With mobs not being present, the number of XP farms you can make drastically decreases, and even a simple dungeon XP farm is no longer possible. That means to get XP, you have to resort to breeding and killing passive mobs over and over, setting up a passive mob farm, which trust me, is something you don't even want to bother with, or using trading to gain XP. One of the best XP sources might come from furnaces now. No longer will you be able to quickly get to level 30 with various powerful XP farms, and now you have to laboriously grind once more. This means that getting solid enchanted armor becomes much more difficult, an essential process which previously wasn't so bad. Since we are on the topic of important items which you won't be able to get, if you do decide to play peaceful, you'll come across, or should I say, won't come across, one very important one soon. Since no mobs spawn, you won't run into any wither skeletons, and therefore wither skulls are unobtainable, which means you can't spawn the wither, and therefore can't get a nether star to craft a beacon. That's right, no beacons, which ultimately means no insta-mining. Although getting enough resources to get a max beacon would be far more difficult now, because exploiting villagers' fear with zombies to rapidly spawn iron golems, otherwise known as iron farms, will be drastically weaker, as you won't have a zombie to scare the villagers. Powerful gold farms will also be unavailable without zombie pigmen, meaning gold also isn't an option here. Conduits, the aquatic brethren of beacons, will also be very difficult to obtain, as drowned don't spawn, meaning nautilus shells are much harder to get. But wandering traders will still be able to sell them to you, so it's not impossible. And on the topic of aquatic related features, in Peaceful, you will never be able to get a trident. With the lack of pillager farms, you'll have to head for the hills and rummage through mountains for emeralds, although trading crop-related goods with villagers is still viable, but some villager trades will be much harder to use. There's no second chances anymore either, say goodbye to totems of undying. Villagers will also no longer be able to be converted into zombie villagers and back for ultra cheap trades. In fact, I think villagers benefit the most from peaceful mode, as they can't die to a variety of hostile mobs, can't be as easily abused by players, and ultimately become even more valuable. I mentioned earlier that some potions become unbrewable. Well, stupid me didn't even realize that you won't be brewing any potions anyways, as without blaze rods, you won't be able to craft them. And then I remembered that igloos can generate brewing stands naturally, so it is possible. But then I remembered that you need to use blaze powder to power them anyways, so they are still useless. And while many of you may not care about achievements that much, I know there are completionist players out there who like to get all the advancements on their Minecraft worlds. Well, playing in Peaceful, many advancements simply aren't possible to obtain anymore. None of the end advancements are, unless you use a special seed. A couple nether related advancements related to the wither and blaze rods aren't either. Also, the best and most satisfying advancement, Return to Sender, is unachievable as ghasts don't spawn. Combat related advancements like Monster Hunter and dueling a skeleton from more than 50 meters away also aren't possible. So, what does this all mean in the grand scheme of things anyways? Well, ironically, Peaceful mode is actually Minecraft's hardest difficulty. In fact, due to hard mode making villagers turn into zombies 100% of the time they are killed by a zombie, slime spawning working faster due to local difficulty being higher, as well as a couple other things, hard mode is actually the easiest game difficulty out of them all. Sure, mobs do more damage and are more threatening, but the benefits of using hard mode far outweigh the cons, especially once you get later and later in a Minecraft world. There's probably a fair amount of other features I've missed, which Peaceful makes harder, but I think we've covered the main ones and you get my point now. It's nice, isn't it, that Minecraft's most peaceful difficulty is actually its hardest. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video. Be sure to subscribe to help me get to 500k, join my Discord and follow me on Twitter. Bedrock players, go check out my server as well. Thank you all so much for watching.